Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my Annie Talk. Thank you for coming to my Annie Talk. Yes, welcome to week 2, sort of. Technically, week 4, but episode 2 of Annie Talk. If you don't know what this is, Annie Talk is where I talk about the weekly shows of the season. 5 shows currently this season that I'm currently watching, talking about my thoughts on them. Watch the last episode if you didn't. Up on the iCard, wherever that may be. Check that out. I talk about the 5 shows, the first 3 episodes of each of the shows. So today we'll be talking about episode 4 of each of the shows that we'll be going through alphabetical order. So without further ado, if you want to know what shows they are, timestamps down below will tell you the shows. And yeah, strap in. It'll be pretty much, I feel like my opinions haven't changed except for like one show maybe, but besides that, there we go. Can you keep a secret? Yes. Episode 4 was interesting. I feel like my hypothesis or my prediction or like my guess for this series might be true, where I feel like this is like a soft adult series. Probably kind of confirmed it in episode 4. Episode 4 was pretty interesting. It was very much showing us the dark side of the opening. Like I mentioned in the last video, that there's a little dark tone with each of the series, especially if you look at the openings. A lot of people sulking or crying in these openings. This one isn't as deep. It's just, hey, her product isn't doing as well we see at the beginning of the episode. She's very sad, sulking about it, and eventually, our main character, Taitoshi, helps her out, essentially, comforts her, and we're good on that. And then eventually, at the end of the episode, someone buys her candy, and she's like, alright, you know what, we're gonna do good. Pretty much simple, soft stuff. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed more the part with the second female character, like the senior, I believe, of the business, when she was doing things with the other guy that knows about the secret. I enjoyed that. That was pretty fun, really nice, charming, cool. I will say, though, quality-wise, I can tell why no one has picked this up, because episode 4 was a very big step down in quality. As you can tell, like, all the background characters either don't move or don't have eyes. Very distracting when you notice when one of the main people that are talking in a scene has no eyes and has a bunch of lines, which is very weird. But yeah, pretty much that's the gist of this episode. There is a scene towards the end where the female main character throughout the episode is listening to these 3 girls talk about her boyfriend that she secretly is keeping hidden, but they all compliment him and she likes that, and she wants to feel, wanted, because she's all in bummy clothes and stuff like that, and people from that department dress kind of nice. So when she arrives at his house, she's wearing, really nice clothing, and, he's wondering what the reason is, and she goes, hey, you gotta check, gotta look at it later. And yeah, we see that later, and yeah, the kissing becomes intense. And again, I feel like this is where the adult stuff is coming through, because it's very detailed for some reason, apart from like, the background characters like I mentioned. And yeah, just very odd when I think about watching those types of scenes, because they're very just silent. Those scenes are very silent for some reason. They're very silent, very intimate, which I do get. It's, trying to be in that relationship, but it just feels off to the point where, like, are they gonna, like, just show us them just fully doing it, and, like, that's the reason why this isn't picked up by anybody. But yeah, looking forward to later in the series, because I'm pretty sure, the other 2 are gonna be a couple. Hopefully, I kind of like their dynamic a lot better now, because, we know that the main couple is already together. It wasn't a thing that just built up, it just happened. And I'm looking to see how they're going to keep on hiding it. Eventually, I want to be a case where if this eventually is, adapting everything really fast and just like skipping a bunch of stuff, the last or second to last episode, everyone finds out, and the last episode, a good chunk of that, it's just, them living together as a couple at work and at, and their actual personal space, don't want it to be like very awkward. 12, 13 episodes of just, hey, let's just keep hiding this. I want it to be a case where, like, people find out eventually, and it's just okay. Can you keep a secret? I have a crush over. Gets a like for today. Episode 4 gets a like. I will say, though, it is teetering to the cut side, so be careful on that. Like I mentioned, a lot of cuts during this episode specifically with the background characters and stuff like that, so be wary of that. But I will say, it's enjoyable for what it is. It's very small, turn your brain off for what it is, and you don't really have to pay attention. The basic moral of the stories are there. The plot points they want you to hit, very much in your face, which I do enjoy. And so, yeah, I dig it, but I can see myself not starting to like it if, it becomes a thing where it's kind of obvious that they're just trying to hide it, and it's obvious that they're together, because they pointed out a lot, like, hey, like, you kind of like him, don't you? Like, they're starting to just point that out right now, but she's, like, silent and stuff like that. So, nope, later on it evolves to a bit more of them making it not as awkward, because there are very awkward scenes in this, but for now, it still gets the like. Honey Lemon Soda, last episode, I talked about how it was pretty slow for what it is, and just things were happening, but like it just kind of just happened to happen. There was no explanation. This is the same and the opposite. A lot of things happen in this one single episode, episode 4, and we don't get to know why. Like the first episode opens up with just them stuck in a forest, in the woods, just raining was pouring, and we don't know why. I thought I was gonna play that scene and then cut to the opening and then cut to the, you know, beginning of the whole trip, and then you know, leading on to that whole mess of getting stuck. But no, we just cut immediately to like them getting out of the rain, and yeah, made no sense. There are 4 like different, you know, chapters that happen in this episode, which is very weird. And you can tell, like, when scenes change, they're in a different location, and it's like, oh, this felt very fast, which is very weird. And I can immediately tell. And yeah, no, not really digging it. Like, the yearbook photo chapter or whatever that was adapted here was okay. It was just okay. Miura just had, you know, black hair back then. That's it. His yellow hair is a bit better. There's a scene where he's just hiding in, you know, a random storage closet or a club room, I believe. Made no sense. Wasn't really that big. And so yeah, there's a lot here, but at the same time, I feel like there's just a lot of substance, but no meat to this substance at all. Like, it's just, here's a bunch of things that are happening. And so I feel like, I mentioned this on the manga sprints that I do every Friday over at Mark's channel, because they enjoy Honey Lemon Soda. I feel like if I read this, I would enjoy this, because I feel like the pacing of this anime is kind of just all over the place. It's either very slow or way too fast in this, you know, latest episode case. But I feel like if I read it to my heart's content and to my own pacing in the manga, I probably would enjoy it. Also, I don't like the art of the anime itself. There's just something that feels very cheap about it. But I've seen visuals of the manga, you know, in Barnes & Nobles when I go look at the volumes. They look good. 4 things happen in this freaking episode, and it's kind of like odd, because you can immediately tell, like, hey, we're in something completely different. It's probably a chapter. So yeah, maybe the pacing's going to go all over the place after this, which will suck, because I know a lot of people do like this series, and so far I'm just okay with it. It's not amazing for me, but I feel like this might be the anime's fault, because I feel like there's some things that I really like here, but they're way too small because the cons outweigh it, sadly. Honey and Lemon Soda gets a cut, sadly, for this, you know, week. I did get a cut before, I believe, and so it continues the cut, but I feel like compared, it's like the opposite of Can You Keep a Secret? It has a better chance of getting to a like soon than staying on cut. Meanwhile, Can You Keep a Secret? Teetering on the cut side for, you know, the foreseeable future if it doesn't pick up the pace. So yeah, kind of on the opposite boat. Honey Lemon Soda just needs to, you know, slow and, you know, keep us grounded. That's pretty much it. Hopefully it can, you know, pick that up and not give us a bunch of stuff all at once, because a lot of things happen and I kind of forget them sometimes. But I know a lot of things happen because there's a lot of changes all over the place. Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to our charm, episode 4. I will give this a small like, in the sense that it's getting a little bit better. It's getting to that point where I enjoyed reading the manga. Episode 4 was an episode that basically is the tail end of the festival. At the end of the last episode, we get to the bridge that, you know, was rumored like, hey, if you're here with someone as a couple, you know, it'll wind up being really good for you and give you a lot of promise as a couple. We stop there. They essentially try to axe it, be like, hey, we're just promoting our cafe, pretty cool. And so yeah, pretty much the same stuff like that. But I will say there was a scene exactly that I immediately was like, all right, I like this. It was the scene where they eventually wind up holding hands, because the whole thing's like, oh, you hold hands to confirm you're a couple. They hold hands, and the shot that they use for them holding hands looks great. It's the closest thing it's looked to the manga. If you watch the first episode of Annie Talk, I discussed how I didn't like the art of the series. It looked like it was a chibified version of everything compared to the manga. That panel itself, that page, whatever you want to call that spread that they do in the anime, perfect. I enjoyed it. Something simple like that. And like, it immediately told me, it reminded me, hey, this is the part in the manga where you started enjoying it. This is going to be the part where like she starts evolving as a character and the characters start, you know, coming up and evolving, which is pretty cool because we're getting new characters. Probably next episode, we're going to get a character, my favorite character in the series, pops up next episode, I believe. And so I'm excited for that. In foreseeable future, I'm going to be enjoying stuff because I know what's to come gets a lot better from here on out. It's the very first 3 episodes are very rough, and I do remember when I was reading it, it was rough, but there was potential here. But now, after this episode 4, we're going to get to the good stuff, hopefully, and it feels good. Another issue I had at the last episode, or the last 3 episodes, is that the acting wasn't there. The snobbiness was there, but like I said, these characters evolve eventually, And to the voices that I was hearing, I didn't think they can do that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, they do that. So for now, this gets a like. This episode itself gets a like. And so hopefully it can keep on this track. It can probably switch back to a cut soon. But hopefully the animation and the art and the acting picks up from here, because there's a lot of changes that are going to happen soon in the way characters feel about each other. Also, the thing that I wanted to make it a cut for was that the main guy character, Medaka, he blushes and like gets, stopped a lot in the anime. In the manga, very stone cold. Very stone cold. You can barely tell that he's blushing most of the time. Here, though, he blushes a lot, and it's very awkward, and I don't enjoy it at all. It's like, hey, you are a monk in training in the manga, and you barely react most of the time. And that's like your, strong will helping you with that. Here in the anime, he's just blushing a lot, and it's like, I get it. I get what you're doing, but I didn't like it. So hopefully they kind of just tone that down, because not every action that Mona does has to be a reaction from Medaka, honestly. Like in the manga, he barely reacts to half of the stuff she says, and like it gets to her, and I enjoy that. But here, he's literally just turning away to everything. He's like, oh my god, this is like, she's hitting on me, which is not the case in the manga. In the manga, he's like, I guess this is how just people from this area, act like. But here, he's like, oh, maybe like she likes me, maybe I like her. And like, it's not like that in the manga. But furthermore, like I said, I'm giving it a like this week. It can switch back, but I enjoyed pretty much where we're going to be setting up to in the next episode, and hopefully for the remainder of the season. Medalist, love. Medalist, if you watched the first episode, Medalist is in the front and center of this whole thing in the first episode, the thumbnail. Medalist, I love. It's a gem of this season. Like I said, if you have it to check out a series from this season, Medalist is the one. I'm enjoying it. We get the part 1 of the Mako Cup, which is the first, tournament that our main character is going to be in. And honestly, I'm impressed with the animation for most of the thing. The beginning was very rocky of her performance because it's in CG, and it was very noticeable. But for majority of the time, I liked it. I liked the way that she slips up. She slips up a lot during this part of the series, and like the way it's animated, like you can tell like, oh, this hurts, this impacts her. I do enjoy that a lot. And even though this is my least favorite episode to date, I still enjoyed it because it just showcases what she's about, even though like she's a starter in a sense, even though she knows a bunch of stuff because she's taught herself. She's a starter, so it's just her struggles and like her dealing with like her mom trying to disapprove and be like, hey, take it easy on my kid. But she knows like, hey, I need to do this because this is my one and only chance, because I want to do this for my sister. Her sister is brought up like in the beginning of the series, and she comes back to watch this performance, and honestly, perfect. It came out of nowhere that she popped up out of nowhere, but I will say I did enjoy that she did pop up, and I look forward to seeing the rest of this cup, because this is a 2-parter, I believe, because it was part 1, maybe there's a part 2, maybe more. There might be more to this Mako Cup, but we get her full performance is the only performance that we see. She was like 12th in the whole thing. I don't know how many kids are in this cup exactly, but she was the 12th person to perform. Her whole performance is done beautiful with the CG itself. It was very wonky in the beginning of her performance, like I mentioned, but as it went on, I was enjoying it a lot more, and towards the end, it was perfect, and I enjoyed it. And the speech she does at the end, really nice, like the turmoil with her mom, and like saying like, hey, I want to do this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to let you, tell the coach like, hey, no. I dug it. She's just standing up for herself, and I enjoy her so much, and I look forward to more of this series as the weeks go by. Episode 5 literally came out today. I watched episode 4. I'm probably going to watch episode 5 tomorrow when I wake up. That's how much I'm enjoying this series. And so, yes, check out Medalist. Like I said, love the series, and I can't say enough good things about it. Also, like I said, I'm watching it in dub. Check out the dub. And yeah, Medalist, just overall a good show. Sakamoto Days, episode 4. This is the episode that pretty much everyone was waiting for, from what I've been told from the manga fans and on the internet. This was the part. Spoilers, because, I'm talking about series here and like the episodes. We get skinny Sakamoto back in this episode. And honestly, the way he's introduced at the end of the episode, stuff is going to happen. And I'm excited to see, later on what happens. And so it got me more excited for episode 5. Episode 4 was a backstory with the main 2 characters that get introduced in this episode, the main 2 villains that we're going to get for like the next episode or so. And so I enjoyed what it was, but it was a setup for these 2 And so we're gonna get more than the next episode, which I do like their backstory. At least we get most of the backstory for the main guy. He wanted to be equals to Sakamoto. Sakamoto's like, nah, I'm not digging this. You're kind of corny. And I enjoy it because he's like, no, I'm going to be corny. I'm going to, show you the gap of our whole thing while you've been off. You've been off for 5 years, not doing anything. I've been training and doing my work. I'm going to show you what the fruits of my labor have. And I enjoy that. He was literally besting Sakamoto the entire time. And I dug it. The horror haunted house was very fun for what it is. Very comedical. Like, hey, this is the best haunted house in the world. And of course, all the assassins are going to be here disguised. And I like that a lot. Our main girl, I forget her name. She gets drunk. So, shout out to Drunk Fist Rock Lee because it's literally a reference to that. Shin is strapped to a chair and about to be impaled by a chainsaw. If she doesn't do anything, she immediately just cries. Very funny. Very much do like the comedy in the series. It's very much not for everyone, I will say, because there are moments where, like, it's kind of like, stone face. I kind of don't think that's funny. But for the most part, I enjoy. It doesn't get me to chuckle, but I acknowledge, like, hey, this is kind of funny. But like I said, we're here for the action, and the action is good in this series. The super balls, I believe they're called, and then it's called SVBs. So like super bouncy balls or something like that, or super ball, I forget, SVB and RDP, Rocket Punch or something like that. I just think of Android 16 when the guy said the name of his freaking move. Very cool, very nice things that you wouldn't think an assassin would have. But hey, screw it. This dude has him, and it actually kind of looks pretty cool. And the poison guy from last episode, I hope comes back as a good guy, because the way his story ends with him being tied up, and Sakamoto's daughter is like, hey, here's a band-aid. Thank you for your performance. I hope he comes back as a good guy, or he just, stays in the amusement park. I hope he doesn't just, die, because that might be a possibility, because he runs into the other two in the middle of the episode. Overall, Sakamoto Days is getting a like. I will like this episode as well. Like I said, I'm more looking forward into episode 5. This is what episode 4 did to me. I watched it and I was like, I'm interested in episode 5. Episode 4 was just okay. I liked it. The acting is getting better for me, which I do appreciate, because the acting in the dub was very rough in the beginning, but as the series has continued on and, evolved, I do like that the characters are getting back into the groove, or the voice actors are getting into the groove of their actual characters, and it sounds more natural when they're acting, as opposed to like the first 2 episodes where it's kind of rough. I do enjoy what I'm seeing here. And like I said, I'm looking forward to more. I'm looking forward to The Order, which I believe is a group that Sakamoto was a part of, which I think I know some members of it, because they kind of just happened to show all over the opening. But yeah, it was mentioned in this episode, and I know about it, so I know it's a big deal. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, Skinny Sakamoto is here, so I look forward to see what he's all about and how much of a difference between him and Out of Shape Sakamoto is. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big difference, and I'm looking forward to it. And so yeah, that was today's Annie Talk. Thank you for coming to my Annie Talk, and let me know, did you enjoy any of these episodes? If you watched them, what series are you enjoying this season? And, let me know down in the comments below. Give me a like, comment, like I said, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Peace. Also, the opening for Medalist, please put it on streaming. I need it now. It's amazing. I want it just in my ears, in my headphones, while I just work out or go on a walk, because it's freaking good.